Good morning. Woohoo! All right, so I am very excited to spend this week with you. And you know why I'm very excited to spend this week with you? Because the superpower I'm going to teach you today and all throughout this entire week is something that I've been doing for the last 7 years. It's completely transformed my life. So who are my people who want to have $1 million year? It's like your $1 million year. You know you got to claim this stuff, right? You can't just sit on the sidelines, like you actually have to claim this stuff. So so I see some me's. Sharon, Annie, Coach Ishwar, I love it. Esteban, Tracy, Kristen, Danielle, Remy, Brian, Jesus, I love it. Susan, so good. Okay, so who would like to create $1 million month? Put month in the comment section. Put month. If you're ready to create $1 million month. Okay, so I just want to see who my people are willing to risk. Okay, month. Okay, so I see that there's some big thinkers here. So have you ever realized how hard it is to create $1 million in a year, $1 million in a month, just selling one-offs? Do you know what I mean? Like one-off courses, one-off consulting packages, one-offs, anything. When I was in real estate, I remember, well, first of all, does anybody remember any stories of me being in real estate? They're quite embarrassing, actually. I'm so glad that some of you guys, thank you, Kristen. So I'm directionally challenged, so I cannot find my way out of a parking lot. This is a true story. My husband will tell you this. He likes to pretend like I lose my keys all the time, but the truth is it's actually him. My keys always go in the same box or my same drawer every single time because I'm super consistent that way. But I can lose my car in a parking lot. Thank God for the did it when you're looking for your car, right? Anybody relate to me? Okay, so when I was in real estate, I was so directionally challenged that I realized that even though I had a calling, and some of you guys have a calling, right? Put calling in the comment section. I knew I had a calling. I wasn't quite sure how to get there, but I knew I had a calling, and part of that calling was a responsibility to become a millionaire. And I even remember feeling a little shy about that, a little bad. Like that was a bad thing to think, whatever that was about. I know, I'm sure many of you guys have got the same, experience possibly, even though I grew up in a household where my mom and dad are separated, but my mom worked really hard as a furniture saleswoman, right? And my father was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. True story. He was born with a silver spoon in his mouth. I don't think he used a bank card until he was in his early 30s. So he grew businesses, he was, high level entrepreneurship, but when it came down to the basics of life, he skipped all of that. Kind of crazy, right? So if you take that story for a second, you realize you don't have to know all the weeds to win. However, some of us do know the weeds to win, but you don't need to. And that's a big aha for me as I continue to grow my business, because I remember $1 million year happened for me when I was in Africa. And it was in Africa that I was with a bunch of my peers. We were volunteering, and I realized that when I walked into this volunteering opportunity, I actually I downgraded my clothes because I didn't want to make anybody feel comfortable. Lo and behold, was I massively wrong, because when I walked into the room, these women were completely dressed to the nines. Even though they might have had a burn in their like blazer or whatever, they were dressed like ready for success. So that was number one of realizing, like, don't underestimate people because of the income that they make, and don't underestimate people because whether they're in the weeds or they're thinking big, it's through the proximity of the people that you hang around with that make a big difference. So even though the African women weren't making as much money as I was making, they unhooked me from entitlement. And the entitlement looked like this. Oh my gosh, that's so much work. I need my time. I need my time. I need my time. And it showed up with different variations of that. Who's with me on this? Who can see yourself in this? Say yes in the chat, right? Who can see? Because it's really important. Because I worked very, very hard. And until my attitude changed authentically, not because I was trying to somehow speak a mantra that I didn't believe. Do you guys get what I'm saying? Like I wasn't good at visualization for a long time because I couldn't visualize all the way through because my mind was so filled with stuff that I was trying to get it right. And so I invite you over the next 5 days when I outline something called a Bring a Friend. It's called a Bring a Friend contest, which you need people to be able to prosper. Do you guys get that? You need people in order to prosper. And so without people, you don't have much of a business. You don't have much of an impact in the world. You can't have a great nonprofit without people. You can't have a great business without people. You can't grow a big business without people. Like, it's kind of a mess if we still wear the badge of honor of isolation, or I'm going to do it myself, right? So in Africa, I had a bunch of my peers, and they said they were putting $100,000 months, which is $1 million a year. And I was putting 50,000. And it was in that moment, it was like this, I felt embarrassed to play small. I felt embarrassed to play small. And so I set this 100,000 and I put it next to my bed. And I wish I had it with me. I brought it here to Puerto Rico with me when we moved to Puerto Rico because it's like a pivot moment in my life, right? Where just being willing to believe in this helped me. And I put this on the wall, and every day I looked at it. I'm not quite sure I was conscious about looking at it every day. So that try hard mentality was really not there because there's a part of me that still was in disbelief. And I looked at that every day, and within 3 months, I hit the 100,000 a month. And then it took 3 more months before I actually realized that I was making 100,000 a month. Because what I was doing is I was rinsing and repeating a campaign, right? A effort. I was rinsing and repeating the same workflow every day, and it produced that $100,000 a month every single month. And then I got this idea, wow, I wonder if I could just put this on retainer. And I believe this is how our lives grow, is if we're not so stuck in this idea like there is no possible way, or my husband or my spouse doesn't support me, or I've got no money. Like, I've lived all of that. And I think what makes myself and Heartcore, the Heartcore team, so powerful is we're so transparent about whatever's hard in our life that we see each other breaking through, which deepens our faith. And so as we walk through these 5 days, the reason why the concept is Bring a Friend is when you create an enrollment, when you create a movement, you want to have people bring their friends. And birds of a feather flock together. I would say we all have something in common. Do you? What do you think we have in common? When you look, just because you can't look all at each other, when you look at me, what do you see in you? Like, go in the comments right now. When you look at me, what do you see in you? Right? When you look at me, what do you see in you? Drive, inspiration, powerful, entrepreneurship, success, inspiration, impact, drive, intentional drive, faith, right? So you see things. So birds of a feather always flock together. What you probably won't see watching me for long is somebody who completely can't stand to say the word God, right? Somebody who can't stand the drive to create more money. Somebody who doesn't like the idea of being more generous. And believe it or not, I have one client out of all these years that I actually helped pop her to $100,000 months. And then she said that she didn't like the model of being too generous and that she could be more successful by being less giving. And so I'm not kidding you. I've had one client out of all the years that's why she left, because she said it was too generous. And so I share all of this with you because birds of a feather flock together. If I can do this, you can. That's not some motivational talk. I developed this model because I was doing, one of the ways that I popped myself financially is I did the thing I wanted to do least, which is speak. Right? Like, how many of you guys are, you need to speak, but you're afraid to speak? Put S, just put an S. You need to speak, but you're afraid to speak for whatever reason, right? And the people who have already, Barbara's like, no, I love speaking. Yeah, but maybe, Barbara, you were born with it, but most of us, we had to walk through a level of worthiness to get there. So I hated the ideas of speaking. My company is called Hardcore Business and not called Shanda Sumter, because of the sheer fact that I never wanted to be center of attention, which is funny because for you guys who are into astrology, I'm a Leo. I'm not into astrology. I'm into Christianity. So I would say that I'm just very driven and God has put a calling on my heart. However, which way you want to language that, I knew that I was called to speak. And I hated the idea of doing it. Like, I absolutely hated the idea of doing it. And so, because I compared myself against everybody else who hit a stage before me. And I used to put so much into my content. Who am I speaking to right now? Because somebody's about to break through. I used to put so much into my content that the level of stress before I spoke or created a course or even did a live online, the level of stress that would go into being good enough, because I wanted something that would create an impact of engagement. And because of that, it took me a very long time to unleash. So I want to give you permission. And when I say permission, I don't mean that from an ego standpoint. I want to give you permission to put down the self-help books for a minute. And I have a self-help program. So know that I get the power of leadership and personal development. But I'm going to invite you to put it down for this week. And just to do everything that I ask you to do. And even if you decide not to launch this campaign, you're going to have a blueprint that if you choose, you could have $1 million year, $1 million month, or $1 million weekend. $1 million year, $1 million month, or $1 million weekend. Now, I'm very, very well aware there are people here that have no interest in being a millionaire. Call it your 6-figure weekend, your 6-figure month, your 6-figure quarter. I promise you, it is not any more amount of work to be able to create $1 million as it does to create multiple 6 figures. What it is it's work for a short period of time dealing with your emotions, like me not wanting to speak. That's the challenge. Your challenge are the emotions. It is nothing else but that. There is always a strategy to get around time constraints, money constraints. There's always a strategy. And what always breaks my heart is how many people pull back into, I'm not ready. If you pull back into I'm not ready, I'm telling you, it doesn't get easier. All you did was choose comfort over your calling. That's all you did. You're kidding yourself if you think you did anything else, because I'm not ready says I'm going to choose my comfort over my calling, which means you are truly wasting days of your life. Do you get that? Because you're probably going to do this thing anyway. And so the longer you take to hit a goal, the more it eats at you. Have you ever noticed that, y'all? Like, the longer it takes for you to get up and write that book, it eats at you. The longer it takes for you to launch that course, it eats at you. The longer it took for me to get on a freaking stage, I was like, oh, I gotta do it. So let's just unleash the stress and get going on this, okay? So I noticed that when I got on stages, I started to fill workshops and events. In fact, I never did a workshop before I did a 3-day event. I did a big 3-day event, like ripped the Band-Aid off and went after it. It cost me somewhere in the neighborhood of about $140,000 that I did not have at all. A lot of people don't realize this when they're working with you on your teams, that when you go to launch these events, now my masterminds cost me $55,000, $65,000, $75,000 just to run my masterminds alone, right? So $140,000 for a 3-day event scared me. And it was one of those moments where I had to succeed. So here's what the offer looked like. I'm not going to do the offer. I did the offer. I went back to my hotel room and 6 people bought. Okay. 6 people bought at the tune. Let me just say here. At the tune. Well, first of all, 6 people put down $500. So I made $3,000, way off my $140,000. Way off my $140,000, a little bit of a panic attack. But I went into my hotel room. So the price point was, so I really made $45,000 before anybody ever, like, as long as everybody kept their word and fulfilled their contracts, right? They didn't back off. I made $75,000. And so I remember going to my hotel room and I looked in the mirror and I felt like a failure. Anybody ever feel like a failure before? Because, okay, so it's big, right? It felt like a failure, and now I was in debt in my head. And so I looked in the mirror and I just said, you know what, Shanda, you're just going to go out there and do your best. You're going to go out there and you're going to learn everything you can and you're going to do your best. And then your coach can coach you off your best. I called my coach. And does anybody know Lisa Sasevich? Any of you guys by any chance know Lisa Sasevich? Put a yes in the chat if you do. Okay, so Lisa's known for you guys who don't know her, she's a friend of mine, and she is known for the irresistible clothes. Like, she's the girl you pull in on your events if you want everybody to buy. So Lisa had just finished an event, and she had more people in the room and closed less than 6 on the first offer. So the reason why I want you to know this is because, first of all, I want you to know that I was okay that night. I felt like, woohoo, I'm winning and I didn't know it. That's first of all, in case you guys are all feeling bad about my $140,000 in debt. But the second thing that I realized is that success is always in the follow-up. It's in how you run the campaign. This is an 8-week campaign that I'm going to teach you. I've never taught this like this. I've never taught it for free, first and foremost. I've only taught it to a handful of clients who it didn't even dawn on me until last night that I should actually have some of them pop on this week to share how they've used this campaign and how they've made millions of dollars using it. You guys want that? Yes or no? So I messaged a couple of our clients and asked if they would share over this week. So truly what I'm about to give you is life transforming. So absolutely life transforming. So I did 6 enrollments on that first day. The next day I crushed it. Did about $500,000 at that event. But what I realized is that I'd never done $500,000 in 3 days in my entire life, really 2 days, because I made an offer over 2 days. So $500,000 in 2 days on my first event was like an aha moment. So the process of what I'm going to teach you could be used for virtual events or live events. It can be used for if you have customers and clients or if you do not. I use it with my clients because I use it to hook up my clients. I'm going to explain the framework today and all of this. But what I want you to get inside your mind is that whether or not you want to do live events, virtual events, or whatever that looks like, you need to sell to volume. Okay, doing these one-off sales is not going to get you anywhere fast. Like, you need money, and I'm probably pretty sure you know why. Do you guys know why you need money? Like, in your own personal life, like, you need money. Go in the comment section and share with us why. Because, people walk around and go, what's your why? What's your why? What's your why? I used to hate that question, by the way, because I was like, my why never felt big enough. So I never felt my why was strong enough to pull me through all of this shit that goes on in our heads, right? And so I would spend more time in the personal development trying to develop a deeper why, when really your why is good enough because it's important to you. So this is why I want you to put down the books this week and just follow me. So bills and obligations, financial independence, pay your rent, retirement, Penny, so good. Take advantage of opportunities, yes. For time and financial freedom, retire without worry, 2 girls, Olympic bid daughter, so my family can be together and give to the church, get out of debt. Okay, so less stress, retire husband. Okay, by the way, we are notorious for retiring husbands and wives in this community. I don't know what it is, but it just seems to happen like crazy here. So let me give you kind of the framework of how this works. So when I had my son to fill an event, like that $140,000 event, I'm not saying you have to do that event, but to do that, I needed to speak for about 4 to 5 months on stages and be on the road. Obviously during COVID, that would have been a dead model, right? And so I wasn't going to do that because it was a non-negotiable for me not to be a absent mother. I didn't work so hard to become a mother to just not be there. So I wasn't going to choose my business over being a mom, but I also wasn't going to choose being a mom over my business. That'd be like cutting off my arm to take a part of me off from being a businesswoman. I love you guys. I would love nothing more. I actually love speaking to you so much that I can't think of anything else I'd rather do. Like nothing. Other than trick-or-treating with my son tonight, there's not like, and they're about par. Like truly, like they're both so important to me that I can't even say one is more important than the other. Because if I take you away from me and I don't give to you, I feel like there's a huge part of my purpose gone. Anybody feel like that? And if you took my son away from me, of course, I would feel like there was a big piece of me gone too. And so it's not an either or. So I realized that I needed to find a different way to fill an event, because once I got the taste of events and selling to volumes of people, whether it's 20 people, 200 people, 2,000 people, whatever it is, once you start to get a taste of that, you start to feel like everything else is, it's just not good enough. It's not fast enough. Right? And so everything I lead up to is always to work with a group of people and then make another offer to the group of people. Okay, so who's doing events right now? Put event in the comment section. Who's doing events right now? Put event in the comment section. Okay, great. Okay, so write this down. Number one, actually, I'm going to pull this up here. Sorry, it might, okay, can you guys see this? So number one, the first thing you need to think of is, for you guys who saw the pocket coaching, in fact, if you're not registered perfectly for this event, you guys on VIP, I'm gonna sit with you guys afterwards, who's on Zoom with me. But if you are someone who is not registered for this event and you're watching on a platform right now, I'm gonna ask my team to drop the URL, because you need to be getting pocket coaching. Okay, so I send pocket coaching out, which means I need your cell phone. I do send it in email too, but you guys who are getting pocket coaching from me on your cell phone, put the word sell if it's like really good. Put the word sell if it's really good. No, sell like a cell phone. Sell. Because like it helps to have me on your cell phone throughout this week, because I'm gonna coach your emotions. Right? I'm going to coach your emotions all week. This is so important for you to get this. And I guarantee you're going to have moments that you don't think you can do this, and you can. Okay. So they're going to drop the URL to register for this event. I'm going to recommend you do that. It's bringafriendchallenge.com, www.bringafriendchallenge.com. So go ahead and register for that to be able to get the pocket coaching. Otherwise, I have no other way for you to get the pocket coaching. Okay. So you guys who are getting pocket coaching, I had asked you 3 things, and I want you to write this down right now so you keep it in front of you, and I want you to hang this on a wall. Okay. Number one, who do you want to be in the room? Who do you want to be in the room? What's the group of people? Do you want to be in the virtual room or the live room? And I recommend you all play the biggest game possible and choose a live room, even if you don't feel comfortable with that. I really do. You could do it in a local school auditorium. You could do it in an Airbnb. You could do it in a hotel ballroom. You could do it. There's so many different places you could do it in. Okay. You could do it in a conference room, which costs nothing, like very low. And so who do you want in the room? What are the group of people? People get so backed up about your niche, but like who's the group of people that you like to work with? And secondly, how many people do you want in that room? Write that down. Don't think about it. Just write it down right now. How many people do you want in that room? Now I want you to take a calculator out, and I want you to times that by 3. So if you put 100, I want you to put 300. Times that by 3. Okay, whatever number you put, I want you to times that by 3. Then the third thing is what result would you like them to get for being in the room? So like the room you guys are in, this Bring a Friend challenge that I'm going to call it for this week. And I challenge you every day to learn how to get people to bring friends and fill whatever events you're doing. I'm going to recommend you go for a live event, because in 2023, my goal is not to just teach you all to be okay. My goal is to teach you how to really multiply your money. And in 2023 and 2024, live events and selling the live event, you don't need to know how to do that right now. You need to know how to fill one. It's going to be the highest multiple that you could ever imagine. In other words, if you built a live event this year and next year and sold it, that would be a massive cash injection to many of your retirement plans. So if you think about how long it takes for you to make money, it takes a long time to make money, because you have to keep pouring it back into the business. You know that if you own a company, you got to keep. This is why having a sales profession job is one of the best jobs ever. You don't have to pour anything back into the company. right? But if you own a company, you have got to take some of your money. It's not just yours. It's your coaches, it's your virtual assistant, it's your, it's your technology, it's marketing plans. You know what I'm saying? Yes, right? And so it takes a long time to make a lot of money when you own your own business. And so, but if you could sell something and bring in 100, 200, 500, $1 million, $3 million, $4 million, then you would be in a really good position. I am currently possibly looking at doing this with my big event. I'm giving you the same advice. What's more important, me holding on to this event or me looking at selling it for a multiple and still being a part of the event? Do you guys see what I'm saying? So if I make 4 million, 6 million at the event, or 17 million at the event, you might think that's a lot, but it took me 3 years to figure that out. Okay, it took me 3 years to figure that out. And if you stay close, I can't give you a money guarantee, but I can show you depending on who wants to go all the way like that, right? And so it didn't take me long to figure that out. And so, however, if I have a $10 million event, or let's say a $1 million event, right? Say I have a $1 million event and it produces $1 million, then if I could get 3 million for that, that knocks 3 years off my time. Do you guys get that? Yes or no? Do you get that? I don't want anybody limiting. Don't let your thoughts say that that's impossible. That's the problem of you sitting at tables with people who are just like you. You need to sit at my table. And as you sit at my table, let me show you how to think differently, and the game will change. So if it takes you all year to make $1 million, but you could sell that for 3 million, that means you saved 3 years of your life. You change a lot in 3 years. What you could do with that money is a lot, especially in a market that is going to be a mess for a little while, right? And so you want to get as much cash injection as possible. Hence the reason why we're teaching you the Bring a Friend Challenge this week. Okay, so make sure you bring friends to this, because when we're done this week, if you're not a Mentor Me Live client of ours, or you're not super close with us and you're just watching online, then you won't have anybody to do this with. You want to have at least 3 people that are training with you this week. So I want you to think about those 3 people, take bringafriendchallenge.com and text it to them. And tell them to watch this today if they're not on, so that they 100% can be part of your support group as you guys move to the next level. So pick your 3 strongest people that you know, that you pretty much think that they would follow through. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Like, don't pick the 3 that you don't think are gonna follow through, or just pipe dreams. Pick the 3 ballers. Pick the 3 people that you think, you know what, this person's strong, or they've been talking about doing this for a while. This person, I just think that if we work together, they did theirs, I did mine, maybe you do it together, right? But get community around this model and you will crush it, okay? So once you make your 3 decisions, who's in the room, how many are in the room, and what's the result that you would like them to see, you would like to see them get, now we've got the start of a vision. Okay, and this is going to grow. So how do you run a Bring a Friend contest? First of all, you need to create a hot list, just like I asked you to do on who's going to do this training with you. Okay, you need to create a hot list. If you have clients, I want you to write down who are your top clients or customers that you believe in. So I have like Amy Yamada, Gladys and Michelle, Sarah Cannell, Sonia. I have a list of clients, Wendy, Jackie. I have a list of people I know that if I reached out to them to be in a contest, to Bring a Friend contest with me, that they would engage over 8 weeks. So why would they engage? Because I'm going to hook them up. How do you hook them up? With prizes. I'm going to talk about this tomorrow. Your homework today is going to be to create a hot list. Okay, if you don't have clients, who doesn't have customers or clients? If you do not have customers or clients, then we need to create a campaign of where are all the areas that you have access to people. So I want you to create a list of all the areas that you have access to people. So you're gonna throw out a broad net, and the goal is for you to at least attract 20. Okay, that's gonna be your goal. I almost always on my hot list have about 8, 5 to 8. Okay, the reason why I want you to attract 20 if you're doing a broad sweep is because I want you to think about more people than less, because you have less relationship with them. Do you guys get it? Yes? Okay, so your homework tonight is you're going to create a hot list. If you have clients or customers, I want you to think of 8 that you look at them and you're like, I think this person is a superstar. If you do not have customers or clients, I want you to think of 20 people that you want to attract into your ecosystem. So if you needed to attract 20 people, where are the areas that you have connection with people? So a Facebook group, an email list, a text message list, your cell phone of friends. Like maybe the 3 people I asked you to do this challenge with you, send them the bringafriendchallenge.com link. Those 3 people might be on your list. Okay, you thought about them because there's something in their leadership that is strong. Do you guys hear what I'm saying? Yes? Okay? Okay, so now when you look at this, I'm gonna talk about this tomorrow. Because this is connected with hooking them up. And you're gonna run this campaign for 8 weeks. I'm gonna show you exactly how to do it. I'm gonna show you exactly how to do it so that you skyrocket and you can fill a room. Who's excited about that? Who's gonna try and do one before Christmas? Who's gonna try and do one before Christmas? I wanna see Brian is, Esteban is, Sharon is. Okay, there's a few of you guys, Mel is, okay, good, awesome. So let me give you kind of an outline about what it looks like. A framework. Okay, number 1 is I create my hot list, right? For me, I do a hot list of clients. Number 2, before I've even created the prizes, I start sending them a text message. For me, I use Voxer. And I announce that I'm gonna do an 8-week campaign to them called a Bring a Friend contest. And it's got a very specific date for an event. So I typically do this for my zone event. Okay, what I do is I have a ticket for my zone event for $197. Okay, my clients get to come free if they register and book their hotels. This is a way that I get people to book their hotels quicker. And there's always a room minimum. I don't want to go over anybody's head, but I want to give you the real stuff. So rise up, don't let me rise down. Okay, you can re-listen to this training again and again and again for today and tomorrow and this week. VIPs, you're gonna get access to this forever, right? And so what I do is when I book a hotel room, I want a percentage of the bookings of the hotel room. So in other words, I negotiate a contract that says, if I fill 100 rooms or 50 rooms or 20 rooms, I want a percentage, I want a commission. But in order to get that commission, they're going to tell me I have to book X amount of rooms, right? So the way I fill it is with my client base. If you don't have a client base, then we have to move quicker. The good news is you could probably book something out 4 months in advance and fill it, okay? Don't let yourself get too much in the weeds on that. You don't necessarily have to do that. You can leave out the whole room and you could just book a room and not have any hotel rooms. But I like multiple streams of income. How many of you guys like multiple streams of income? I like multiple streams of income. So I either use the commission on the rooms to pay my event coordinator, or I use the commission on the rooms to pay me. Because at the end of the day, when you learn how to run this contest, you're going to have hundreds or thousands of people come to your events in 8 weeks, right? So what I do is I create my hot list, I send them a text, I announce that I'm gonna do this Bring a Friend challenge. It's actually a Bring a Friend contest. Same thing though. Bring a Friend, sorry, that's an F, BAF. It's called BAF, sorry for the messiness, it's called BAF. Okay, I've got a date for the zone event or whatever event you wanna put down. This is the framework, so write it down. If you want to have hotel rooms, that's great. But even if you're not, if I'm doing a live event, I want people paid in the room. Why? They're more committed. So even though on my sales page, I might have the room for $497 or like a seat in the event. Then I'll raise that to $700. Then I'll raise that to $1,500. So I keep raising the price. Believe it or not, people pay more as it goes up. It's unbelievable. Let me tell you something. Process quicker. Make decisions faster. The reason why the broke go broke and keep going broke is because they've gotten in the habit of delay. You know if you scrutinize over a decision. Joyce Myers would call that a mind spirit, right? So people keep buying, but this 8-week campaign, the people who are playing my Bring a Friend contest are bringing people for $197. Okay, so they're bringing people for $197, and it's a really simple page. You guys who registered, if you didn't register, here's another reason why you want to go to bringafriendchallenge.com. Is when you register, we give you we give you a swipe file of emails that go along with running this, as well as the registration page and the thank you page. So we gave it to you, but you have to go register to be able to get access to it. We gave you the funnel so that you just have to click on the funnel, add it to your system. If you don't have one, sign up for the system, right? And it's got all the templates done for you, which is super awesome. Who's excited about that? Yes or no? Right? Because I want you to do this. I don't want you to sit and just watch me. I want you to do this. You guys on Shanda On Demand, right? I want you to do this. I want everybody to do this, okay? Even if you don't know how to do it, like I didn't know how to do my first event, I still want you to do it confused, because that's how you're going to gain the wisdom. You're not going to gain it by staring at these videos. So 197. So if I have 1,000 people come in, I've made a couple $100,000. Get it? Now you might have 200, you might have 50, you might have whatever. So now you guys who are afraid of booking a hotel room, if you have 100 people in, you've made 20 grand. Right? So stop being afraid to jump because you don't have enough. The reason why you're listening to me is because I teach you how to have overflow, right? And if you wait to have enough, you will never get going. Okay, so it's about getting committed to how many seats are moving. So 197 is a sweet spot. If you do less than 197, people don't show up. About 20 to 25% even with a 197 ticket will not show up. Okay, you just need to know this, because how do you know you're doing good or bad? Some people are like, oh my God, all these people didn't show up. I'm like, you're tracking with the best event trainers out there in the world. You had 20% not show. You know, like so many people are getting upset because they're gearing for perfection and they don't actually know the standards. Okay, so 20 to 25% no show is 100% normal for people attritioning out of attending an event. Okay, if you do less than 197, you're going to see numbers like 40%, because it's just not enough to keep them in the game. Okay, the emails I gave you show you how to book them, show them how to get them to go book their room, all that type of stuff. I'm not going to go through that because we'll never get the framework and the leadership behind leading this. So make sure you register for the bringafriendchallenge.com. You guys who did, you're awesome. You guys who did the VIP upgrade, we have a bunch of more swipe files for you. Also, I'm gonna walk through how to get an army of people in VIP to actually get behind this campaign. How many of you guys in VIP are excited about that? If you're not in VIP, I would suggest this was the best $47 that you could ever spend. So I'm going to ask my team, not in Zoom because these are VIP, but the people who are out there, we're going to drop a link for you to upgrade to VIP. You don't even want to miss today's VIP. Okay, so right when I turn off the video, I'm going to move over to VIP and I'm going to show them how to have an army of people, because we got another half an hour with them, 40 minutes with them afterwards, after I close down the lines. Okay, so they probably drop the VIP upgrade link on YouTube, on Facebook page, wherever you're at, the Facebook group. Go ahead and upgrade to that. When you do, they'll send you a text to join us in the session after this, okay? Smart to do. Not only do you get the recordings, but you're also going to get more of a deep dive on how to do this, because this is a lot, right, you guys? Yes? You can still re-listen to it, but you're like, you got questions. And so the questions are in VIP. That's the only way I can do it, because we're on a Zoom call. Okay, so now when you look at 20, 25%, you got a hot list that I go out to. This is how I jumpstart it. I only need 5 to 8 people. Text message all of those 5 to 8 people, or I use Voxer, or you can do Facebook inbox messaging, right? I don't email because I like Facebook inbox messaging because I can do an audio. I like Voxer because I can do an audio. I like text message because I can do an audio. I want them to hear my voice. So it looks something like this. Hey, Esteban, who actually is turning out to be a superstar, right? So it's like, hey, Esteban, I am launching something called a Bring a Friend contest that is where our clients bring friends to Zone event. I'm reaching out to you because I think you're someone who could win it, which means there's going to be a major payday for you. Let me know if you're interested in being coached by me or mentored by me or in the inner circle, however you want to say it, of the people that we are choosing to be in the hot list of people, the hot list of leaders that I'm going to coach personally over the next 8 weeks. Let me know if you want to be a part of that. Esteban's going to say yes. And truly, I don't go out to everyone. Why? I don't want to carry anybody. These are my drivers. These are people who I don't have to fluff their feathers to keep going. You guys know who you are, right? You're like, nobody's driving you, nobody's pulling you across a finish line. In fact, most people are trying to pull you back to settle down. If you're a driver, you're someone in your life that literally constantly is telling you to chill out. Like, chill out. Why are you working so hard? Chill out. All of those people, you just make them feel very, very uncomfortable because you're going after it. Okay. And so that's these people. That's these people. If they had a little bit more attention, they would crush it. When I develop the prizes tomorrow, they are actually dedicated to help this group win. And I'll explain that tomorrow. Part of being a great leader is being able to take different steps along the way without needing all the details. So we're going to get to that detail next. This is also how I stay out of overwhelmed. I have not been overwhelmed for I don't know how many years. No matter how much is going on, I don't get overwhelmed. I just refuse it. And it's because I work on the next thing that comes up. Okay, so we'll work on prizes. So this half means you have to choose the ticket price. You have to pick how many people you want in the room. You need to know there's going to be a 20 to 25% attrition. And this bring a friend ticket or bring a friend seat needs to be less money than what you would actually sell the event for. Okay, so now this event could be an intensive you're doing, a workshop you're doing. It could be a virtual event that you're going to do paid. I have lots of friends who do Zoom events that are completely paid. I just finished one. Right? Like, so you don't have to do everything free. And just because maybe your free events are not full, I'm going to tell you your paid events have a better chance to be full than your free event by far because of this. People just don't show up. Like, it's unbelievable to me that we have, 100 and something people in VIP right now, but there's 350 people who bought VIP. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's because it's Zoom. If it was in a live room and they paid $197, then what would happen is I would see this attrition number. Do you guys see what I'm saying? So if your intention is impact and income, this is going to be a lifesaver week for you. So the framework is kind of the boring part of all of this. Here's the exciting part. As you're running this challenge, as you're running this contest, it's going to be 8 weeks. And every Wednesday, you're going to see the cart move. Every Friday, you're going to see the cart move. I'm going to teach that to you tomorrow. I'm going to teach you about prizes. I'm going to teach you about leading the events or leading this campaign. And what's going to happen is there's going to be a series of emails and messages that you're going to copy from me. Who's excited about that? You're going to copy from me so that you know exactly what to say, exactly when to say it. And you can do it by yourself or you can do it with a virtual assistant. In other words, you don't need to have a whole bunch of people doing it. Who are my companies that are already doing 6 figures? Go in the chat. Who are my companies that are already doing 6 figures? Put 6 in the chat. Whoever's already doing 6 figures, put 6 in the chat. 7, of course, my client, Gladys, right? 6, 7, 6. So put 6, 7, 8. If you're doing 8, 6, 7, 8, put in the chat. Now, I want you to know that we've had everybody from Dean Graziosi asked me to teach him this. We've had a lot of people ask me to teach this model. So although we're starting slow with just some framework stuff, you've got some things to think about, right? I'd recommend you just model my pricing. for whatever it is that you want to do. So you need to make a decision on where's a date that you want to do an event. So this is 8 weeks, but I don't have to start my event at the end of 8 weeks. Do you see what I'm saying? Like I could, if I wanted to start this Monday and have an event in January, that's totally fine. If I wanted to do this in January and February and have my event in July, it's totally fine. I've taken this 8-week campaign, crushed it, and then turned around like 2 weeks later and launched another 5-week version of it. 5 weeks is too short for the full campaign. 8 weeks is really the number. But if you leave enough time in between your event, you could knock out another 14-day one off the back end to boost the numbers. My point is leave some space for success, because I just find that when I launch something for the first time, I always think I failed. Anybody else like that? I always think I failed. So if you can leave a little bit of a buffer at the end of your 8 weeks towards your event, you will have learned a lot. It's kind of like teaching your kids how to ride a bike, or somebody taught you how to walk at one point. Like every time you fell down, you learned that if I walk and touch that table, I can get there faster if I hobble. If you could launch, this is kind of ninja, but it's smart. If you could do the 8 weeks on this Bring a Friend contest, if you could do the 8-week campaign and then like give yourself maybe a week or a week and a half, 2 weeks after, and launch another 14-day, like another 2 week before your event starts, I think that would be really smart. Why do you think that? I want to see who's thinking. Go in the comment section. Why do you think that? Why do you think that? Come on, VIP, I can see you really well right now. Momentum, yes, momentum for sure. If it doesn't work, you still have enough time to go launch another one. Learning, yes, exactly, it's learning. So what happens after you do this first 8-week campaign, you're gonna have a really good understanding about how to run this with more confidence. You're like energy going all in. Who goes all in on everything the first time? Most people don't, right? Most people don't. Most people, even if you say you do, Misters and Misses, it's very rare I see somebody go all in. It's like 1%. It's such a small group of people that I ever see go all in, because your emotions get in the way. So if you launched again 2 weeks later and did kind of a recap, a 2-week special on this, and you came up with different prizes for those 2 weeks or different incentives for those 2 weeks, you would absolutely crush it, because you're going to be that much more bold. Now there's something that pulls this entire thing together, and it's called a through line. When I teach this week, it's really important that you're on live. I know the hesitation is to come today and then just kind of, piece this together over the week. I don't know how much $1 million is important to you, but I'm telling you, the $1 million isn't just available for the smart. It's available for the one that doesn't feel courageous and still shows up to the race. You're at the starting line right now. And some people will watch the replay of this. If you're watching the replay of this later, I'm going to tell you something. Don't keep watching replays. Clear your calendar. Connection is currency. If we can get together for 5 days, 4 more after today, I'm going to teach you something called a through line. And this is what makes everything work. My challenge or my contest is called a Bring a Friend contest. We might call yours something different. VIP, this is something that's included in your session where I'm going to walk through lines with you, because this is so critically important. If you're not in VIP, you need to upgrade to VIP. Seriously, because I can't teach this to everyone because I need to do it on Zoom. If you feel bad about me getting rich, I'm not getting rich on your $47, so you can put that to sleep. Just get in the room. You hear what I'm saying? Esteban's laughing at me, but it's true. Not getting rich on your $47, okay? And so just get in the room. It does say what you're committed to. It tells God, it tells the universe, I'm committed, I'm putting my stake in the ground, and I'm going all the way, okay? And I can't do it without touching you and talking to you. That's why the Zoom room is for VIPs, so that I can do that with you, okay? Got it? The through line and coming live is so important. If it's 2 o'clock in the morning for you, I would suggest being uncomfortable. Choose your calling over your comfort. It's 5 days. If you flew to California and you lived in London, you would be on California time, wouldn't y'all? Somehow that's realistic and acceptable. But what's not realistic and acceptable is becoming a millionaire. And people like crabs will pull you back down without knowing, saying things like, why are you working so hard? Why are you getting up at 2 o'clock in the morning? Why, you know what I mean? Like, they will do it. And they don't mean to hurt you, but I'm telling you, you need to be stronger than those thoughts. You need to be stronger than those words. Because if it takes you being on here at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, let's go right now. How many of you guys, what time is it? Y'all gonna feel bad when it's 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. But for all you guys who are not 10, you will 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, you're like, listen, you got no excuse. You're like on the easy train right now. You're on the time zone, right? But if it's not at that time, so what time is it in your area, you guys? Go put the time on. 7:50 a.m. So we got Pacific Coast, 7:50, 7:50, 9:50 Eastern, 10:50, 7:50, 9:50. Okay, all my VIPs are like walking the easy bucket right now. I don't know where my Londons and my Germanys, and I don't know where those people are, but usually we have them, right? We have South Africa, we have all of that on the Zoom line where it's like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., and we all feel like, okay, I'm getting up, I'm gonna be here. So no excuse for my East Coast and West Coasters and my Central Time. You guys better be here, okay? Clear the calendar, it's worth it. Be here, find a babysitter, or hide in the closet at work, or go for a walk around the block and leave your kids in the bedroom. No, just kidding, but figure it out, because that's what it takes to be able to pivot, is we got to figure it out. And you're gonna have to do lots of pivoting when we walk through this week. So I'll end on this and move to VIP. If you upgraded to VIP, make sure my team sends them a link to join us on VIP, because we're gonna go on a deep dive. Number one is create your hot list. And if you don't have clients or customers, then and by the way, if you have clients and customers, you could still go the extra mile and do this for like connection points, right? So if you don't have customers or clients, they'll look at, where are my connection points? Connection is currency. Where do I have connection points, places that I can connect with people? If you do not have customers or clients, I want you to think you want 20, because unfortunately you're gonna have fall off, right? If you have customers or clients, then think about your 5 to 8, I would really say 8, of the ones that you think are really strong, that you believe in. Very, very hard to lead people that you don't believe in. It's really, really hard. So like when someone gets a call for me to play Bring a Friend contest, and they're gonna be the core nucleus, they're not the only ones that play, but they end up being the core nucleus that help me lead it. And what happens is this thing expands, and it expands fast because people start bringing a lot of friends. And before you know it, that 100-person event just went to 500. And you realize that you've been playing small for a long time. And this has been available. Your $1 million weekends, your $1 million days, your $1 million months, your $1 million years have been available if you would just be willing to know how to run campaigns like this and to fill the room. There's no paid advertisement. There's not going to be one talk about running an ad or hiring an agency. This is 100% a grassroots approach that anybody can do. All right, you guys, I'm going to end on that. Do your homework. And here's what we're going to do. I always reward prizes. So I recommend that all of you guys have 3 friends, even if you're a client of ours, that you have 3 friends that actually do this challenge with you. So make sure you write a note for yourself to text the URL to 3 friends and tell them to register, okay? Secondly, make your hot list. Thirdly, tomorrow, the people who have actually done the homework of the hot list, I'm going to be looking for ways to surpass some prizes for you. So it could be $1,000. It could be $500. It could be a hot seat session privately with me or my husband. It's going to be something good. It's going to be something good. And if you wanted to use your voice right now, which is what it's going to take to run a Bring a Friend contest, then you could go in the chat right now and tell us, what would you like it to be? $1,000. $500, a hot seat session with Ash, or a hot seat session with me. Go in the chat and let us know. Go in the chat and let us know, okay? Use your voice. If you sit on the sidelines and you don't engage, it's gonna be really hard to lead a Bring a Friend contest. You have to be the type of person who engages. All right, you guys, that's a wrap. I will see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Eastern. At 10 a.m. Eastern, VIP. I'm gonna stay on with you right now, and we're gonna go deep dive. You ready? All right, you guys.